Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's our Rifle Spear playthrough, episode 11, Bloodborne, for the PlayStation 4, obviously. I'm Fox with Foxio Plays. This is my Let's Play channel. My main channel is Foxio Games. Make sure to sub to my main channel. It's in the description. Alright guys, when last we left, I was knocking out a few things here in the Hunter's Dream, and now we're going to head to, let's see, the Forbidden Woods. I was having some trouble finding the door that leads to the Forbidden Woods, but I finally found it through exhaustive searching, otherwise known as Googling it, and now I know where it's at. That's one of the things about these games, though, is that if you don't know exactly where to go, especially your first time through, it can be really easy to wander around aimlessly. Gosh darn it, I did this last time. I need to stop doing this. It's not the Church of the Good Chalice or whatever it is, it's the other one. Sorry guys, went to the wrong lamp. Good news is that the load times are not so bad. I could probably get rid of these load times and make the episodes a little shorter, but I'll just talk through them since they're not so long. The Grand Cathedral is where I need to go. Today's drink of choice, while we're waiting on the load screen, that's the ice you hear right there, guys. The ice is actually a mugicha, which is Japanese barley tea. It's a really great tea. It has a strong flavor, so if you like strong flavored teas, that's something for you. It's got the two really strong advantages of being, of course, calorie-free. Also, well, three really. It's calorie-free, it's super easy to make, and it's also caffeine-free. So for those of you that don't want to ingest too much caffeine, this is a great option for you. All right. So I've looked up how to get there from here, and I think I now know how. Notice that we have 21 blood vials. That's because of one of the runes we have equipped. I'm not really a big fan of the rune that gives you an additional blood vial, or additional 2, or however many the future versions of it give. But I'm using it because there really are no better options at this point. We've only got like 4 runes, and the 4th rune doesn't really do anything for me. So I just kind of equip the ones that we have. Alright, should be right through here behind this dude. I think there's like a dog or something following me. I hear something coming at me. We'll run through here first and then turn around to see what we got. Yep. Ah, shoot. Oh, man. My timing sucked right there. Oh, I didn't see you. You must have been here. There you go, buddy. I am so glad he didn't do the grab attack on me, because it does drain your insight. People have pointed that out to me. I incorrectly stated that there were really no other ways for you to lose insight other than to use it. But actually, that enemy right there will drain insight from you with his grab attack. So, something to be aware of. Alright, so the door we're looking for is actually through here, if I'm not mistaken. And this will take us to the Forbidden Woods. I do apologize, guys. Episode number 9, we did lose, like the latter 25%, 30% of the episode, unfortunately. I had a double failure. I lost all of my audio commentary in that episode and a good portion of the video because 2 separate hard drives simultaneously ran out of hard drive space. I mean, what are the chances of that? Obviously, my chances of that were technically 100% because it happened. But, you know what I mean by what are the chances. Never expected something like that to happen, and I guess I wasn't keeping a good eye on how much data I had on those hard drives. The good news is, I have spent like over a day organizing junk on my hard drives. I've replaced a 1 terabyte hard drive with a 2 terabyte drive, and I replaced a 500 gig hard drive with a 2 terabyte drive. So I went from 1.5 terabytes to 4 terabytes. So basically, lots more space. Interestingly enough, when you come in here, you'll notice that this guy is already dead, and gives you a madman's knowledge for attempting to interact with him. But you can't really do anything to him otherwise. So, how was it that he was asking you for the password just a moment ago? Well, who knows? Maybe you opened up a time portal. The long, winding staircase. Alright. So there are 2 paths? No, just 1. Okay. Onward to the Forbidden Woods, which I usually get confused with the Charnel Lane Forest, or Charnel Himwick Lane, something like that. I can't remember all the area names for this game. Now, I will tell you that Forbidden Woods I'm not a big fan of. Oops, I actually didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to look over the edge. Well, I already did it, so it's done. Let's see here. Is there another little spot we can jump down to for safety? No? No? Okay. Well, whatever. Maybe we can jump on that? Yes. Nice. Twin Bloodstone Shards, which we don't need any more of those at the moment because we got our Rifle Spirit of +6. And we don't have a secondary equipped because there is actually somewhat of a burden element in the game. It's unstated, and it's not directly included, but if you equip a whole bunch of stuff, it will actually slow down your stamina regen rate, but doesn't tell you that. And that's not uncommon in games to have, like, not necessarily secret, but to have... Oh, somebody's throwing some crap at me. I see how it is. To have this stuff where there are certain things in the game that affect you, but it doesn't directly tell you about it, that's not that unusual, especially for an RPG. We're going to get this guy with a nice charged up R2. They're also capable of dropping Bloodstone Shards, or Twin Bloodstone Shards, one or the other, or both, maybe. Oh, he got me in. We got a little more health back as he was falling. Something I'd like to point out constantly, that you can do that. Get more health from a falling body before it hits the ground. I've only been through this area once before, so I've avoided looking up a guide or anything. I'm going to try to get through it in this episode, but if I start getting turned around and lost or anything, I might look up like a guide. Or, whoops, that was so late it was pathetic. That was too. And that was so early it was pathetic. I didn't think he'd be able to come all that way. Okay. Yeah, it just takes too long to do the attack with your firearms. Like, they seem to have this delay on them that makes it very hard to hit your enemies from sight. It's almost like you have to know what type of attack they're going to do, and then try to interrupt them before they even start their attack. I don't know if there's a lot here I really need to find. I would be content basically just going from point A to point B, point A being the entrance, and then point B being the way out of here. The way forward. The boss here is going to be, I believe, what is it? The Shadow Lords or Shadow something. Shadow something. It's a 3-part boss. Usually I'm not a big fan of bosses that are split into multiple enemies, but I think they did it pretty well, and I'm okay with the design. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Skeleton Lords boss. Maybe it's Shadow Lords. Reminds me of the Skeleton Lords boss from Dark Souls 2, which is actually one of my preferred boss fights. Not one that most people remember, but one that I do. Awesome, we already made it. This is going to be our shortcut once we unlock it further on down. I think, if I remember correctly, there are like 3 or 4 different shortcuts to unlock on the way down to the boss. Oh, look at that. Something hidden around the corner. Oh, FromSoft, you've become predictable. In some ways, and in other ways not. I like the design of this area. Reminds me of the something or other from Dark Souls 2. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, the, what was that area called? The Hunters, or the... Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember. It had some weird name to it. It wasn't forest or woods, but another name that meant something like that, but a word I'd almost never heard before. Like an old English word or something. Somebody will post it down below. The problem you have with an area like this, particularly in a game like Bloodborne, is how easy it is for enemies in this game to sort of blend in. Like, when you're looking right here, some enemies, you could be looking straight at them and not even realize it's an enemy and just think it's part of the background. You just don't notice. And that may be partially intended, but part of it is basically because the game has such a drab color palette. And again, people had pointed this out to me. They've been like, you know, Fox is not supposed to be super colorful. This isn't Super Mario Galaxy. And that's very much true. It's not Mario Galaxy. And it shouldn't look like Mario Galaxy. But at the same time, when you have a drab color palette, you're going to have to be aware that stuff will blend and stuff will basically look invisible. Whoops, well, I got stuck there. And stuff will just sort of blend into the background and not... Okay, see, that's one of the reasons why this can be a troublesome weapon at times. Even though I was facing him right in front of him, my charged R2 attack went around him. But we've seen that many times before, so that's nothing new. Uh-oh, something's coming. Dogs! Dogs! Okay, so my blood vial popped off. It made the sound in the effect, but didn't heal me. So that's an instance where the game kind of has a bit of a, not lag, but a little input issue, where it gave the full effect and look of the blood vial doing its thing, but the blood vial did not do its thing. So really, jeez, seriously guys, come on. There we go, finally. Now we have to worry about the oil being on us and that dude with the torch hitting us. Because it'll do a lot more, it'll have a much stronger effect on us now that we've got oil on us. And I don't know how long the oil lasts. Oh, geez, see, I thought he was dead. Their health bars when they're dead look the exact same as when they have just a tiny bit of health left. I wish once they were dead, they got rid of that little, like, glowy line at the end of it. That way, there would be a clear indicator between dead and close to dead. That's important, because I'm not the only one that's done this. I know you guys have done it, those of you who have a PS4 and play this game. If you have a PS4 and you think this game looks at all interesting, definitely pick it up. Definitely pick it up. It's worth the full price. I definitely want to support developers making games like this versus games like, you know, Mortal Kombat 10. Oh! Okay. What? Are you kidding me? Okay. That was a cheap shot. I ain't even mad, bro. It is what it is. Okay, one thing I'm gonna have to remember to do, and I don't know if I'll remember to do it, but I have an air conditioner that's gonna turn on and off depending on, you know, the weather and time of day and all that. So if I'm playing and the air conditioner turns on, I need to incorporate that sound into my noise removal filter. Just a little tidbit for you guys, a little technical thing about making playthroughs. Never, ever, ever upload your audio as is. You always want to do something different with your... Oh, geez. Fell for the same thing twice in a row. You always want to do some audio editing. You know, get rid of any serious issues where you're like coughing, hacking, screaming, yelling at your mom, any of that stupid stuff. You want to normalize the audio so there aren't parts where you're super loud and parts where you're super quiet. Increase the audio volume if you need to, because a lot of people are talking too quietly. And then one of the big things is doing a noise removal filter, which is basically where you select a quiet part of your audio as much as you can, preferably at least 10 seconds. That's why I leave 10 seconds of quiet at the beginning of my audio commentaries. You guys don't hear it, though. I edit that stuff out. And then that tells Audacity or whatever program you're using, hey, this is what background noise in my audio sounds like. Then you highlight the whole track and tell it, get rid of that. So first of all, you say, hey, this is the background noise in my track, and then you say, get rid of that from my track. So oftentimes what the background noise will include is stuff like, you know, I love it. He went right into the fire. It'll include stuff like the hum and whir of electronic devices, the hum and sound of fans running, like my PC fans. It might include just little random static noise. And in the case of my air conditioner, because the room I'm in is right next to my air conditioning unit, it will include the sound of my air conditioner. Oh, come now. Oh, come on. Be reasonable. 441. Was it really necessary to include two of those? Oh, and by the way, it's not a coincidence that there just happens to be a couple little bonfires there, because if you run into the bonfire with that oil on you, yeah, it'll do a little more damage than what you're probably expecting. As in a lot more. I would show you, but I don't want to risk dying again. Fortunately, I actually died right at the beginning. Good place to die, I guess, right, guys? If you're gonna die, die near the very start of where you start your level or area. Trying to remember to use my blood bullets whenever possible. The reason you should always stock your blood bullets as much as possible is because that allows you to keep your Quicksilver bullets so that you don't have to go farm extra Quicksilver bullets when you run low. It's better to waste blood bullets than real Quicksilver bullets. That was expected. But you're actually supposed to go this way, so it's okay. You can fall through there. You can do it. It's alright. Don't feel bad. The other reason I complain a lot about the frame rate in the game, and some people are like, oh, it's not that bad. Well, it is that bad when you're constantly pushing the camera back and forth, and people are like, well, then don't do that. Well, you kind of have to do that if you want to see where enemies are, because every time you come around a corner, you want to look, are they over here? Are they over here? Are they above me? You know, are they hiding in this corner? So you're constantly flicking the camera around, especially your first or second time through the game. And in a game where you're constantly flicking the camera back and forth, and the camera moving highlights the really bad frame rate, well, that's just a bad combination. Oh, look at that. Could that possibly be a trap? Can I get him to walk over it? Or do the enemies recognize it in their paving as a bad spot? They do, don't they? Now, because this area can be a little tricky and I don't want to die, I'm going to start using blood vials as soon as I hit my max of 21. I want to keep myself fully stocked on health for this segment here, so that's less likely that I'll die. Molotov cocktail, that makes sense. Anything in there? Nope. Oh! I just happened by pure chance to dodge that. Didn't even see it coming. You notice that drop rates in many parts of this game are extremely high. I think it's probably a good thing. I like the idea of giving the player plenty of healing and then just making the game hard enough to where you can't heal through everything, which is really what they've done. Some people have complained and said a Souls game shouldn't have, you know, consumable healing where you can find lots of it. People complained about the healing life gems in Dark Souls 2, and so did I. But that's because Dark Souls 2 used an Estus mechanic. I think you need to go with either an Estus-style mechanic, a refillable, limited healing mechanic, or go with a consumable healing mechanic. I've never seen a game do both in a way that I felt was very good. If you guys know of one, let me know. I'd be happy to take it into consideration. But in the case of Dark Souls 2, no, I don't think that game did it very well. What was that? Oh, so let's use all the blood vials we can. If you're full on health and full on blood vials and full on your storage, then go ahead and pop your blood bullets. And if you're full on all of that, well, then there's nothing you can do. So that's that. But yeah, stock up fully before you let a blood vial just sort of go to waste. Now I'm going to run into a situation where I'm constantly seeing like Quicksilver bullets and blood vials left over that I couldn't pick up and thinking, ooh, treasure. Oh no, not treasure. I like to set the traps off and then go to an area of safety. That way I don't accidentally set the trap off by mistake. Or I don't find myself backing up from an enemy's attack and then accidentally running over it. Because when you're in the midst of a fight, you may forget where those traps are. Okay, that's that. Got it. Now there are probably some interesting items around here, weapons or runes or gems and whatnot. I'm just not going to find everything, guys. I'm not. I don't want to make this a full exploratory playthrough. I just made that term up. I don't think that's a... Maybe that's not a word, exploratory. So I don't want to do a full exploration playthrough. I don't want to do a speed run. But my main goal in this playthrough is essentially to go from point A to point B through most of the game. If we do any Chalice dungeons, there won't be a whole lot of them. Just because they are optional, so I want to go ahead and avoid doing too much optional content. If I do optional content, it'll probably be in a later playthrough, in which I call it a just for fun playthrough. You guys can check out a playthrough I did of Dark Souls on my channel. It's actually on my Foxio Games channel. That's before I made this Foxio Let's Plays channel called Foxio Plays. But go to my Foxio Games channel, or you don't even have to go there. Just go on YouTube and type in Dark Souls just for fun, and my playthrough will be the first search result. And that's a playthrough in which I did whatever I wanted. The whole premise of the playthrough was, hey guys, I'm going to play this game and just play it the way I would normally play it if I weren't doing a Let's Play, except I do kind of incorporate the idea that I know someone's watching me, so I'm not going to do things that are boring to see. But I just played it the way I wanted to. No restrictions, no telling myself what weapon I'm going to use, just doing whatever. If I want to change weapons, I change weapons. If I want to start changing the direction I take the character, I can. I can do all the optional areas or skip them, just whatever I felt like doing. And a lot of people enjoyed, whoops, that's my bad. A lot of people enjoyed watching me do that just because it was a little different than what I normally do. So I'll probably do a just for fun playthrough of Bloodborne at some point in the near future. People have asked, are you going to do other playthroughs on this channel? And of course, for those of you who have been listening, and this guy admitted that he heard the answer in the playthrough that he was listening to after he posted his question. Yes, of course, I'm going to be doing lots of playthroughs on this channel. That's what this channel is for. I don't know why I thought that would work. You gotta hit this thing before it disappears. There we go. Get the items, get the items. Okay. Ah, it was just twin bloodstone shards. But yeah, we found out in very, you know, from some very bad situations that the rifle spear, while it is great in some ways, it has some serious limitations and drawbacks as a primary weapon. And so for that reason, even though we're not completed with the playthrough yet, I would have to definitely say that I do not... Oh shoot, we just went like in a circle. I do not recommend the rifle spear as a primary weapon for really anybody. If I were not doing a playthrough specifically for the purposes of, you know, YouTube, I would have already changed from the rifle spear to something else. I would have already given up on this weapon. And that's not normal for me to want to give up on a weapon before I finish the playthrough. And I was actually very excited at first, because when I first saw it and just played around with it a little bit, it looked like a really cool weapon. I'm like, wow, it's got the, you know, it's got the blunderbuss kind of built into it. This looks like it's going to be a really fun, interesting weapon. And I actually thought for a little while that, hey, this might be one of my favorite weapons in the game. Lo and behold, it is definitely not at this point. It's an interesting weapon. It's a fun weapon to play around with. But like I just said, it's not the best for a primary weapon. And again, the primary reason for that is that it's got a limited moveset. It's not so great unless... The charged R2 is good for what it is, but then again, like I just mentioned, you'll run into a lot of situations where you'll run past enemies or beside enemies. Your charged R2 can actually cause you to push an enemy out of the way as you're moving forward, which is precisely what you don't want it to do. So, yeah, it's got some issues. People have asked me, hey, Fox, what's your favorite weapon? Don't know yet. I don't have enough experience yet with all these different weapons to say what's my favorite. This is the way we just came, so let's go this way. And hopefully this is the path forward. Oops! Accidentally bumped the shoulder button. What the heck? Did I... What I just went back... Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I just went back to where I was. How did I do that? I could have sworn I was progressively moving forward. Okay, well, apparently not. So that's that. Well, we just went that way. Let's try going this way. Let's see if there's a path this way. No, that's just going to take us around to the other way we just came from. Through a building. Okay. So I'm apparently following the same path and not even realizing it's taking me in a circle. That's some good old Foxio Games stuff right there, guys. Let's go this path through the water. I haven't gone this way yet. Oh, shoot. I gotta... Oh, no. I gotta be careful. That's gonna do some major damage. Where are these guys at, and can I get to them from here? It'd be better to take them out first rather than try to tackle that with them throwing junk at me. But I don't know if I can. Let's see if this will take me to where they are throwing crap. Does not open from this side. Well, how dare you? Well, whatever. Oh, somebody finally let me know what the word was I was trying to think of for the different styles of doing Let's Plays. And the word I was trying to think of is stream of consciousness. The stream of consciousness Let's Play style is the Let's Player, the player, The uploader just talks about whatever comes to mind. Just whatever. Anything. There are no restrictions. Doesn't even have to be game related. I sometimes do that. Although I like to have bullet points at times. Although quite honestly, it's easiest to just talk about whatever. No plans, no time spent beforehand. You just launch the game and play. And that is, in many ways, the easiest way to do it. I think the most interesting Let's Plays to watch for me are the ones where the player has stuff planned ahead of time that they want to talk about. And if they're talking about something not game related, oh, this is just a quick shortcut to get you around that little tough area there. That area is actually not bad if you just run through it. But yeah, if you want to stop and try to fight everything while getting hit by oil urns, then yes, that area is actually quite painful. I do want to go get those items, but might not be worth it. Notice that they give you a hint here. If you've ever seen oil or you know, oil-based substances on the ground in the sunlight, you'll notice that they have that sort of rainbow reflectiveness to them. They reflect a variety of different colors. Same thing is happening here. So this should be a good indicator to you of, oh, my life experience from the real world, gosh darn it, is telling me that this is a oil substance, this water, so I should be careful. I might still have oil on me, so I need to be careful getting hit by these guys. Who just shot me? Oh, that guy did, okay. I know there's at least one illusory wall in this game that can be opened by attacking or rolling into it, but I don't know where it is. I saw someone hit it in the middle of a video. God, that sounds bad. I saw somebody hit the door or the wall in the middle of a video and it opened up, but I don't know where it was. So, for all I know, it could have been in a Chalice dungeon. Okay, so that's that guy. I like to take out all the snipers because you never know, even if you run past where they can shoot you, you never know if you'll encounter enemies where you'll move backward. Oh, I remember this part. Gosh darn it, camera got stuck. There we go. You'll never know when you're going to hit an area where you're going to retreat from some enemies, and the last thing you want to do is be super low on health, be retreating from some tough enemies, and retreat your way right back into the path of a sniper. That would be bad. I'm not sure how much ability that explosion has to hit you through stuff, but as you know, most stuff in this game can go through walls, even if it's not originally intended to. Like, you can go through walls. You can attack through walls. I'm going to go ahead and max out my blood bullets because there's a vial here that we can't pick up. So there, so we picked one of them up. That's good. Maximizing our blood vials. So there could be an advantage to not necessarily maxing out your blood vials in storage, because if you get it to 99 and then progress through the game, you'll notice that you'll have to actually leave blood vials on the ground a lot. So you might as well get it to something like maybe into the 70s or 80s, and then you can continue to pick up blood vials as you progress through levels. That might be the best way to do it. That way you're not, like, you know, wasting the opportunity to pick up blood vials. Nice try, buddy. This reminds me of something from, like, the American Civil War. You can fire it. I'm not sure if you can really direct it or aim it or anything, but whatever. Okay, appears to be nothing in here, I guess. We'll grab whatever items are in here. Whew. Yeah, for my next playthrough, I've told you guys what I think I'm going to do is probably the Kirkhammer, and I'm still under the impression that I'll probably want to do the Kirkhammer playthrough. Now, it will be somewhat familiar in that the one-handed attack is pretty much like the longsword of the Ludwig's Holy Blade, although I'm not sure if it's exactly the same. So I'm hoping it has maybe a slightly different moveset, although I really, really like the thrust attack on the longsword. I've always liked that in Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, and in Bloodborne. Unfortunately, they got rid of that from Dark Souls 2 and mapped it to the two-handed version of the attack, which I wasn't such a big fan of. Can I jump over there to that? No, that looks like just an open... Okay. Thought maybe that was a secret area I haven't been to yet. This is where the torch really does come in handy. More so than it ever did in Dark Souls 2. Really? That's all it does? That's so lame. Oh, I forgot. These guys, yeah, these guys are these things. That's right. Oh, come on now. Jeez. Give me... Oh, come now. Give me a break. Yeah, these enemies are pretty cheap. There we go. Especially when I had it nearly dead and thought it was dead and then it wasn't. Lame. Okay. Where's the way forward here? Just jump down here, probably? Yeah. There's a ladder too. Madman's knowledge. Lots of insight. Okay, so I think there's a way to open up a shortcut. Yes, there is. I think it's right here. As always, if you have two paths like this, and you can go one way or the other way, I can go left or I can go right. I went left and noticed that it seemed to open up into a big area. So what I do, even when I'm not in a playthrough, is I immediately turn back the other way and see where that goes. And I look at this and go, ah, this might be a shortcut. So, what? Will not open. So it's not a shortcut we can use right now, unfortunately. But that's what I always do. I always check and make sure that the other path I'm not taking isn't like a really quick shortcut or a short path that leads to some treasure. So the more open a place looks, the more likely it is that it will continue onward for quite a while. Gosh darn it. I mean, the length of attack these guys have, the massive amounts of health, the fact they do poison damage, the fact that they can do multiple hits in a row really quickly. I mean, there's just so much to these guys that make them really cheap. And then the game will throw 2, sometimes 3 of them at you at once. And all I can think is, Tanimura, when did you get in Bloodborne? That's the guy who was lead design or lead producer, director I think is the term, on Dark Souls 2. And I was very much not a fan of his style. There we go. Shortcut. Shortcut found. Antidote. The fact that they keep giving you antidotes leading up to that area should be a good indicator that you're going to need them. That's what this game does. It gives you what you need, in many cases shortly before you'll need it. Alright, time for some nice Mugi Chow. You guys may notice some more breaks in my Let's Play schedule. It is difficult to have a Let's Play out every day because, you know, you have to play the game, record it, then you have to edit it, and then you have to upload it. And doing all of that and having it all ready day after day after day is hard. Even though I upload some episodes ahead of time, I still find myself falling behind. Especially when I was out of town for a while and then I got sick and wasn't feeling so great. Sometimes I end up working overtime a lot. Or like today, which is not necessarily the day you're actually seeing this. Today is my wife and I, we have our 9th anniversary. So obviously I can only play a little bit, and once my wife is home from work, the rest of the day is pretty much set. Yeah, let's do that. And then I can get rid of the torch. When it's been a little while, I like to run back here and just make sure that, number 1, I don't have any upgrade materials, which in this case I know I don't. And then number 2, I like to check for blood gems to make sure I have the most effective ones equipped. So I just scroll through and I look and see if any of these show me like mainly blue or all blue, which is an improvement. Now granted, this one right here looks like it's better because it improves 2 other things and keeps another one the same. But actually, hang on, that might actually be better. Actually, I think that one is better. Okay. But one other thing I look at is if it greatly increases a certain type of attack. Like this will greatly increase thrust, whereas the other 2 don't increase as much. The blood attack I'm not so worried about. Let's see here. But adding a lot of thrust damage, well, let's see, might actually be worth it. Yeah, that one's the best one. I might have just switched one back and forth. Because I do thrust attacks with this weapon almost all the time. So increasing thrust and then sacrificing something else is probably going to be worth it in the big picture. Now that much of a sacrifice on my physical and blood, probably not worth it for 3 points of thrust. But if you get a lot more thrust damage for a small sacrifice elsewhere, it's probably worth it in the case of the what is this thing? Of the rifle spear, because it's mainly a thrust attack weapon. Oh, and then the last thing I do, always make this last, is repair. Always upgrade before repair, because an upgrade, or in this case a fortify, will automatically repair for you. See, the only other rune I have is Beast Rune, boosts effective temporary transformation. I typically don't use temporary buffs. I don't like to use temporary buffs. I've never been a fan of them in any game. I know some games are very reliant on them, and if you know how to use temporary buffs, you can get quite powerful at times. We can also see what else is unlocked and available to us over here. In this case, we've got the Tomb Prospector Hood. I don't know if we just unlocked it, if it's already available. We have these weapons, and then these weapons here. Kirkhammer is going to be our next one. I also like the Kirkhammer because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you get it as soon as you kill the Cleric Beast, which is pretty quickly. So one of the things I love about doing a first time or new game playthrough is choosing a weapon that I can get very early on. The earlier the better in some cases, because what you don't want is to do a weapon-based playthrough and choose a weapon that you can only get towards the end of the game. Well, then you've already finished nearly the entire game and haven't used the weapon yet. So the sooner you can get the weapon, the better. And then if you're going to pick a weapon, that takes a while to get to, then obviously you want to try to find the quickest path to get to it, and then take that as early as possible. Alright, so now we've got a great shortcut that takes us, and allows us to skip about, maybe 20 minutes of that level. I mean, obviously you can get through it quicker if you just run through it, but I'm assuming that, you know, you're not going to run through everything and take the risk that you'll get hit by an enemy. What I'm trying to do is get up to him in time. See, I was hoping to get a backstab. The other reason I don't like these enemies is because they oftentimes will poise through your attacks and not be staggered. So the fact that they sometimes aren't staggered, can do massive amounts of damage, can do a massive grab attack that does tons of damage, afflict poison on you, and can stagger you easily, and then have a bunch of health, it just makes them a little too tough, if you know what I mean. And then what's worse, like I just mentioned in like about 10 or 15 minutes ago, they also like to make these enemies, or they also put these enemies in groups at times where there'll be 2 or even 3 or possibly more of them coming at you simultaneously. That's just not fair. Why you gotta be like that, FromSoft? Now, in contrast, these guys, as long as you get the drop on them, are really, really easy. They're not a problem to take out. They will throw a whole bunch of them at you at once, but I'm okay with that because they're so quick and easy to knock out that it's not a problem to throw 3 or 4 at you at a time. You know, the more difficult an enemy is, the less you should be throwing multiples at the player. You know, if an enemy is this giant, really tough, really powerful, hard-hitting monster, you probably shouldn't be throwing 4 or 5 at the enemy, at the player at once. I'm just saying. IJS. I'm just saying. I will say, though, these guys actually take way too long to notice you and then come at you. Like, they just tend to slowly move towards you, and they give you plenty of time to hit them before anything happens. My first playthrough, I don't know if any of these guys ever even hit me once, so they might be a bit too easy. That's not a complaint you get a lot from a Souls game. It's too easy. Alright. The other thing about this area is you can get through it pretty quickly and easily if you just go straight through, but there's stuff to be found if you go from one side to the next. Unfortunately, we're at about 40 minutes, so I know I'm not going to get through here in the next 5 minutes, and I don't want to stop halfway through the level. So what I'm going to do is hole up here right by this protective fire, which doesn't really protect me at all. And I will see you guys next time in episode, it's going to be episode 12. Yeah, episode 12 of our Rifle Spear playthrough. Make sure to follow me here at Foxio Plays and follow my main channel. You'll see it all in the little outro after this, and I will see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. As always, I'm Fox with Foxio Plays. You can also check out my main channel, Foxio Games, where I upload tons of videos like reviews and comedy stuff. Included here is my Fox Kinda reviews of Freedom Wars for the PlayStation Vita. It's a comedy review series, as well as my Foxstalgia review of Magician on the NES. It's also a comedy review series just of older games that I have quite a bit of nostalgia for. Yes, I do have a Patreon. I don't actually really ask people to donate to it, but I do mention it because people often ask, hey, can I give you money? The answer is yes. Yes, you can give me money. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. That's where I prefer to keep up with people, though I do have a Facebook. Of course, you can follow there if you'd like. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.